In the last video, I shared with you a quick experiment where I used cheap watercolors on expensive paper. I used this Jolly watercolors on Arch watercolor paper, and this is how it looks like. This time, let's use a cheap student grade watercolor paper, Canson, and find out the difference. I will test out the colors that I'll use. Most of them are cool colors for this simple landscape. And yes, it's the same palette I used with the expensive paper experiment. I'll have my blues, greens, violets, and some neutral colors. From the swatch itself, you can already see the difference on how the pigments react with the paper. Let's start painting. Again, I will upload a separate tutorial on how I did this simple landscape, so please stay tuned. I'll post a link below once it's available. I can already see the difference with the wet on wet technique. It seems like the colors aren't that bright when used on my Canson student grade watercolor paper, and that the paper isn't absorbing the pigments properly. Well, understandably, because this isn't made with 100% cotton. Same goes when you use the direct painting technique or wet on dry. The colors aren't that bright. I'm not saying that this paper is bad. In fact, this is the only paper I can afford when I was just starting out with watercolors, painting doodles and illustrations. And it wasn't until my third year of painting that I was able to upgrade my paper. This experiment was designed to emphasize that paper plays an important role in watercolor painting. So if you have to choose which material to upgrade first, it should be the paper. If you're finding value in this video so far, kindly boop that button so other watercolor beginners or lovers will find this experiment. Now I'm adding another layer of paint on this landscape, and I had to make sure that I'm loading my brush with more paint than water to cover the first layer. I'm also just dabbing my brush lightly so as not to disturb and lift up the layer underneath. Since this paper is smooth, with less texture compared to Arch, it's easy to paint tiny details like these birds and the windows and doors. You should also carefully lift up the masking tape and make sure that the painting has dried completely, or you might rip off a part of your painting like what I did here. Here's the finished painting on Canson and on Arch. What do you think? And what paper are you using right now?